Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the internet's most hated mafia-themed geek podcast, Long Coat Mafia Podcast. It is I, once again, the Reverend Godfather, the show's main host and frontman. As much as I would like to say we have an epic crossover for you today, nonetheless, not so much. But we do have two great epic guests for you today. Two guests who have been on the show numerous times before, one of which is Don Ramirez, the other is the one, the only, Matt Burns. Why have these two guests crossed paths? Well, let me tell you, that's because in his effort to document the Frederick Underground music and art scene, Don Ramirez has asked, or finally crossed paths and met up with the one, the only, Matt Burns. And in the interview you're about to hear is them discussing Matt's background in the indie music scene, the punk scene, kind of transitioning into the convention scene and into the music, not so much the music, the independent movie scene. So, I must, before I continue, let me just say that in this episode, we are working with our brand new mixer, and even though there might have been a slight mix-up on my end, it didn't even show up in the audio because, well, both Matt and Don have great booming voices, and they carried very well, so whatever minor mishap I had was not really there or showed up, so that's grateful. And I must say this, the content you're about to hear is strictly, I'm going to say this, belongs to Don Ramirez and Matt Burns, and we are so thankful here at the show that Don allows us to record these interviews and post them up on our show or our platform for all of you to enjoy. So I'm going to step back right now and let the interview begin.
Matt, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready when you guys are.
Let's have fun. Yeah. All right, today's date is
Groundhog's Day.
Sunday, February 2nd, 2020. I'm here with Matt Burns and Christopher Lumiser of Long Coat Mafia. What I'm here to do with Matt is I really want to explore your history, but I thought it was important that we talk about the projects that you're currently working on. Let's beat up everything that's coming up in your near future, and then let you and I go back in time and see how this thing becomes such a part of your life.
Absolutely. Like I said, yeah, well, I mean, I've kind of been retired from the local music scene for the last 2 or 3 years. I was in there for about 15 years, promoting shows mostly. I was in a couple bands here and there, but anyway, so what I kind of do now is I like working in independent films and in conventions like horror and comic book conventions. I founded the 4-State Comic-Con in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is still running. The Carolina Fear Fest, which we will be doing Memorial Day weekend in Raleigh, North Carolina, that's all horror stuff, and I also co-promote the Creature Feature Weekend, which is in Gettysburg, PA, Labor Day weekend. So those are some great events we got coming up, and also a movie that we just worked on. Actually, Don, you worked on it with us, and Chris did as well, for a day or so. Remanence, paranormal horror movie shot right here at the Rock School, and among other places in like Gettysburg and whatnot. We will be screening that, doing a public screening of that, a premiere, if you will, a premiere of it, if you will, on April 25th. It's a Saturday night at the Waynesboro Theater in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So that ought to be a lot of fun. It was really an honor to have like guys like Jim Crut from Dawn of the Dead and want to be in it, and George Stover, who's in a lot of movies, Monique Dupree, who's in a lot of trauma stuff. I mean, it was really a great time and a great event. I mean, Mark Byrne, the guy who wrote and directed the movie, I think he's really got something special here, and I think it's really going to take his production company. This is the 10th movie he's made, by the way, so he's been around a while, and I think it's really going to take him to the next level for that. So I really think that I hope that good things come of it. So.
Tell me a little bit more about the creature feature that you have coming up. and how long you've been involved with Creature Feature. And you said that's where?
That's in Gettysburg, PA. It's only the second year show. It's only
Okay.
the second, and we don't have a whole lot to talk about right this second. Unfortunately, we're still. I mean, I know the promoter Craig Yastrzemski. He just got the hotel down. He's getting ready to do the floor plan with the vendors and all that stuff. I know he's probably got a few guests. He's getting ready to roll out. I can't really say anything because he hasn't announced them yet. So I mean, I don't want to jump the gun on that or whatever. But we had a great time. It was at the Wyndham, at a nice Wyndham hotel up there, right off of Route 15. The main drag off of Route 15 and Route 30, and it. Last year we did very well. Last year we had Corey Feldman. Of course,
Get out! Did you really?
Yeah, we had Corey Feldman.
What's he like?
He was an interesting guy to say the least.
Even that's what I've heard.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. I mean, he was very nice. I mean, he's a little shy, but he was very nice to all the fans. Talked to all of them, made them all feel welcome, which was nice. We had him, and we had his brother from Lost Boys, Jameson Newlander, who played Alan Frog, and we also had Tim Capello, the saxophone player, if you remember him.
Right.
I mean, he actually came out and played, and a lot of people don't realize he's a real musician. I mean, he's really a great saxophone player. I mean, he toured with Tina Turner.
Here's one.
Yeah.
He played at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Did he really?
Tina Turner did a few nights at the Charlestown racetrack. Private Dancer, right?
Yeah, the 80s.
She had signed before Private Dancer
got huge. Yeah, before they come out. Yeah.
And I saw him, and I when I saw that film, I said, "That's fucking Tina Turner."
Yeah, Tim Capello. He was big and ripped up. He was big and all muscles. I mean, of course, he's still I mean, for being 60 years old now.
Right.
He still looks pretty good. Yeah, he came out and he played, and he also toured with Ringo Starr, the Beatles, and a few other guys. So a lot of people forget, this guy actually had done so much. I mean, people thought he was an actor. I mean, I think a lot of people thought they just got some buff guy, to dance around with the saxophone or whatever on the boardwalk. But yeah, no, he was a real musician, and he actually put on a really good show. He had a carnival sideshow open for him, which was fun. The Carnival sideshow or whatever open for him, and. Trying to think of who we had a bunch of guests.
How long did it go on for last year? How is it?
It's a 3-day show. Show Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday night was the night where we did and we also used in the same parking lot. They have a big theater, like I think it's called like Gateway RC Theater or something like that. And I mean, that's where we did all of our panels. We did we actually had the Tom Savini Special Effects School come in, some of the kids, and they turned the guy back into Dr. Satan, who was in House of a Thousand Corpses or whatever. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. So yeah, it was a great time. A little bit of something for everybody, I think, which did really well. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that again here Labor Day weekend in Gettysburg again. And before this show, they used to have a show out there, and it ran for about 4 or 5 years. Also ran in Baltimore for a number of years, called Horror Find, and it was one of the original horror cons in this area. Unfortunately, the gentleman got sick, and unfortunately, he died, so he couldn't do it no more. So, so this is kind of carrying on the tradition of Horror Find. We'd like to think. I mean, it did really well, and hopefully, we can keep growing.
So this is the second year that you're going to be involved with the Creature Feature.
Yeah. So Craig. Like I said again, Craig heard about me. And I just kind of, I didn't walk away from 4-State, but me and the other guys had some differences in opinion, and it was just, again, we're still on good terms. I'm still going to be set up there this time around in March. They got a new venue at Hagerstown Community College. Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing it at one of the rec halls or whatever there this year, and in the end, we're actually going to be screening a different documentary that was made about how 4-State came to being or whatever, called Small Town Heroes. My buddies Jason Delgado and some other folks made that about it. I'm in it with some cosplayers and fans and whatnot and vendors, and it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's locally produced.
Yeah. Well, Jason was originally from Northern Virginia. He's in North Carolina now, but he was originally from Northern Virginia. I met him when I did the 4-State Slasher Con, which is how I met Chris. Actually, Chris Lumser over here, and it wasn't a good show. It wasn't.
The thing is, you tried.
Again, I just didn't know what I was doing yet. So it was basically. I look on that show. Yeah, I lost my butt on it basically, but it's just about. It's a learning. It was. I learned kind of everything what not to do that year, right? And Chris will tell you it didn't help that some of the people involved with that show just were not
right. And
yeah,
I've Don, I've always given Matt a whole mess of credit for allowing us to be there, to cover it.
It was the first show you ever did, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Four State Slasher Con was the first show you guys ever
We were, as a podcast, we were like...
brand new.
Yeah, it was like 4 months, 5 months out, not even 5 months out of the gate. And to have someone like Matt Burns say, come on down, cut your teeth, here's the panel, it's something that a lot of...
Next thing he knows, he's sitting on stage with Rochelle Davis from The Crow. And he's just like, oh.
And it's, for podcasters, it's something that doesn't really happen sometimes for, at least in their second year, if not third year. And to credit Matt for allowing us to cut our teeth sooner than later allows us to learn more, learn quicker, and be more ahead of the curve.
I mean, you guys both know the only way to there ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I mean? You got to do it. You can't.
So, do you consider yourself in these roles with? And I want to talk about the same thing with the film production. But with this relationship that you have with these conventions, are you a promoter, programmer, combination of
promoter,
all?
more or less? You know, a little bit of both. Consulting, consulting is a word because I've done it for a while. These shows, like Fear Fest and Creature Feature were both brand new last year. So I know my fair share of agents and fair share of brokers and whatnot. So, and not trying to pat myself on the back. I made plenty of mistakes when I was doing it, but it's just not trying to sound egotistical here by any means. I'm just but yeah, no. When the more you do it, the more connections you make, the more people you meet, the more.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say. And it's a bug out. Trying getting to hang out with people like Miko Hughes from Pet Cemetery. Actually hang out with them, and they act like it's almost like they're your friends, and it's crazy. Promoting and helping book talent and whatnot. That's kind of more along the lines of what I do. And with the movies, it's more or less like, hey, I know this place we can shoot, or I know this band who will donate a song or whatever for them. Because again, these movies are very low budget. Remanence. You saw it was.
Have you directed?
Not yet.
Do you direct?
It's coming.
Have you directed any scenes with Mark Byrne or?
No. It's coming though. It's coming. Hopefully maybe later this year. We'll see. I got a couple things in the works, a couple scripts that I am working on. So.
One thing from our conversation, and I know both of us share a deep love of cinema.
Oh, of course.
And I hope we get
to work together again.
Yeah.
Sometime.
And I was going to say, give me a scene. Just let me shoot a scene. Let me be able to contemplate it. Part of your film or something like that. Just a scene.
Oh, absolutely.
But let's go with Remanence, and when are you guys releasing it? And let's talk a little bit more about that. And then from that, I think you and I, let's talk cinema. And then we're going to go up to your days as a punk rock promoter.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Remanence is going to be released, as I said, on April 25th. It's going to be on DVD and probably afterwards, maybe on some streaming. We are looking at some potential distributors for it, like professional distributors.
Where you guys would make some money,
get it a
right.
little more out there than we could possibly do it ourselves. But yeah, we got screening there, and we got screening at Carolina Fear Fest this year as well. So we got those two coming up, as well as probably some other ones that'll pop up through the year. But it's just been a lot of fun.
With Mark and his production. Do you actually get to work with a budget? Do you guys have a budget?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
I got you.
Not really. We do what we can with it. I know, like, the next movie, because Mark likes to make different movies. He's not just because some guys, all they make are horror movies.
Right.
Or all they make are crime movies. All they make are dramas or comedies or whatever. He likes to make all different. All of his movies are different. He's got one that's almost like Alfred Hitchcock. He's got one that's like a black and white film noir. He's got comedies. He's got horror. He definitely likes to, sci-fi. He's got one that's like sci-fi. So he's a little bit all over the map or whatever when it comes to. But it's great. I like the fact that he tries to do different things because
different genres.
What's the point of doing the same thing over and over again?
Right.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it's just a lot of fun. Again, we do it for fun, and the people that do it with us do it for kind of fun, if you will.
Right.
Again, anything to support the local arts and
right.
whatnot is great. So that's kind of where we sit there.
How old are you, Matt?
I just turned 37 years old.
37.
Yeah, I just turned there.
And where were you born and raised?
Here.
Here in
Charlestown, Jefferson County.
Jefferson County. You're in Jefferson County. So how does this film, where does film start for you? What are some of your earliest memories of I love this thing, be it the horror films or whatever it is?
Oh, my father. My father, he loved all this stuff. He loved heavy metal, punk rock, horror films. He loved all the same stuff I do. And my father was probably my biggest influences. I mean, he's my hero. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're still very close to this day. And he got me started real young on like Night of the Living Dead, Plan 9 from Outer Space. The original, Maximum Overdrive. I love that movie when I was a kid. Because it was just trucks driving themselves around.
So when you were young, were there still any movie theaters open over in Jefferson County? If so,
no. I think they had already gone by then. But I was gonna say, my dad grew up, of course, going to the movies. Like he had like the CW theater downtown, and I'm sure you might remember that one. And the one that later became the Blakely Bank. I forget what that one was called.
The one in Ranson.
Just on the circle.
BB&T.
It was a Blakely. That
it was a beautiful movie theater.
That's what I said. And my dad's friend, I think, worked there actually too. So so I'm sure I'm sure they used to sneak in and watch movies all the time together. But he used to tell me about seeing like all those movies, the horror, the blaxploitation movies, and some of the ones that used to come through there, and it was just it just sounded so cool. And I was going to the movies from the time I was like 3 years old. I saw Ghostbusters, I saw Gremlins, I saw Back to the Future. It was just incredible to me. I always had a passion for movies and whatnot. And I didn't really get back into the horror stuff though until I was a teenager. I mostly watched of course, when you're a kid, you mostly watch like the ones that your friends are watching, like Wayne's World. Not saying they're not great movies. They're classics in their own right. But it's just like I said, I didn't really get back into the horror stuff until I got mid-teens and started hanging out with guys that were into guys like my buddy Tom Kemp, unfortunately, who doesn't.
So would these experiences be VHS tapes?
Like for sure.
Are you renting them or swapping them back and forth?
Well, a little bit of both.
And let's talk some titles.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we had down in Ranson. I don't know if you remember.
Come on.
There was On Track Video. You remember On Track Video?
I had a membership.
Yeah. I was gonna say they were these. Like I said, these old. I was gonna say, but they used to. And I remember going in there, at least once a week, if not twice a week. And like I said, and then once I started seeing, I remember being 10 years old and seeing titles like Frankenhooker, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this shit? I've never seen anything like this before. And it's just it's so crazy. But like I said, there was that one, and there, of course, like the Dead Alive flicks. A lot of those things were just. All the 80s, Slasher, Chopping Mall, Slaughter High. I wish I could have gotten my hands on all of them back then. Those VHS tapes are worth a fortune now. Those horror VHS tapes are worth a fortune now. It's like, but Return of the Living Dead, Sleepaway Camp, still one of my all-time favorites. I actually was just in a movie with Felissa Rose.
I see you promote her. She's part of
Fear Fest. Yeah, she's part of Fear Fest, and she's part of Carolina Fear Fest. And we just did a scene. Well, my buddy Dave is doing actually a funny story. The Left is going to be on that soundtrack most likely.
Speaking of, let me let you know this. I was on the phone with Jimmy Swope yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Brian Sefcik today.
Yeah, I love Brian. Brian's a great guy.
We're hoping to do a very special program with the Left or about the Left in June. We're hoping to do it over at O'Connell. So the whole idea would be the students from the Let There Be Rock School perform the Left songs. Jimmy would perform, Sourpuss would perform, and hopefully the Beats would perform. Yeah. So,
Viet Cong. I had that album from when I was a kid. I found it. I want to say I found that album, Last Train to Hagerstown, at a thrift store. And I just liked the title. I was like, Last Train to Hagerstown. What the hell is this? It was like $1 and I bought it. I was like, what the hell is this? I bought it. I was like, I was just like, oh my God, these, and that's when later, of course, in your late teens, early 20s, going into the music scene. I know we said we're getting ready to get into that, but I figure,
we'll go there.
Well, I was gonna say, because that's how I got started with all that stuff, is through bands like Bomb Threat and the Dolts, the old girl band, Strong Intention, that era of the 180 Club. You probably remember that place.
I do remember 180.
Yeah, the 180. I was gonna say the Cave was the other place there, and then they had the two clubs, and they also had one. I think it was called called Dimension X once upon a time. It was a roll. It didn't last very long. It was like 6 months and it was gone. I mean, I think they just didn't have they weren't legal permits or taxes or nothing like that lined up. So yeah.
Let's go ahead and let's talk. We'll talk music.
Yeah. We kind of got off.
Well, let's go ahead and go with it. Mm-hmm. How do you know the Voodoo Love Gods? When do you meet Brian Sefcik? When do you? Because also, I want to be clear. The footage that you have of them at Cookies, at some point, we would want to put it on our YouTube channel.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because the whole thing,
I met those guys in 2001.
Okay.
They did a show at Slowpoke's Tattoos in Ranson. They used to do it once a year. They do a big cookout at Slowpoke's. And my old band, we were like the kid band. But I mean, I always hung out with all these older guys. I mean, because they knew. I was 16 years old and I was roadieing for Vomit Snack. Bands like that, and Strong Intention. I was going to see all these bands, on weekends when I was like 16 or whatever. And then so by the time I was 18, I had a little punk band together. And we were called Cow Tipped. We had a little bit of a following in the area and whatnot, but we mostly just, that's when I started doing shows. I started renting halls because we were 18 years old. Nobody wanted us.
Yeah, no one's going
to book an 18-year-old kid's punk band.
No.
Yeah, so that's when you start renting halls and bringing all your friends out to play and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you got a little scene going or whatever. But anyway, so like I said, I was doing the Vomit Snack. Craven Moorheads was another band they used to have, I remember. And then there was, the Voodoo Love Gods got back together again. They had one of their many reunion shows.
Right.
They used to reunite about every 5 years, it seems.
Yeah.
But I met Brian at Slowpokes. We did the Voodoo Love Gods, and it was Voodoo Love Gods' ex-best friend. I still have the poster at my house, actually, of the concert. My buddy made. Yeah, I was gonna say I can probably get you a copy of it. But yeah, it was.
Who was in the Voodoos in 2000?
I don't remember. It was Brian, and I definitely remember Brian, and I don't remember exactly who was all the original guys. But like I said, my ex-best friend had Paul Kogel, a dude named Scott.
I know Paul Kogel real well.
And Ramon, who was a drummer in all those bands. He was a drummer in Strong Intention, Vomit Snack. And Ex-Best Friend was like this indie rock band. They were really good. I really think those guys could have made it. I really did. They were fantastic.
Did you know Todd Young? He played
it was Vox Populi.
I did too. I put them on over in Frederick, Maryland with the Voodoo Love Gods.
I used to book at the Shepherdstown train station. I was like, and that was when punk music, you could only really hear it at the all ages shows because the bars were all booking Stuck in Chaos. And nothing against those guys. I'm friends with Big J and all those guys. They did wonderful things for the music scene, but if you weren't metal, you couldn't play the bars.
Right.
Until 2004, enter Cookies. And enter Cookies in 2004. And I was the first guy to book at Cookies. And the place wound up getting pretty big, even in the area. We had bands from all over the four-state coming to that place. But it was, it was the only place where punk bands could play, the only bar where punk bands really could play, because it just seemed like, a lot of the metalheads, that hung out there all kind of stuck their noses up at you or whatever, because again, it's a lot of it's very different stuff. But and then, once Cookies shut down about 2008 or whatever. That's the scene I noticed every couple of years would move. You'd have Hagerstown would have the Leitersburg Grange Hall shows, and we did those for a while. We had Dr. Chud from the Misfits play there. Who was the big emo band that played there? Was it All Time Low, I think, played there? They were newer. They were like a newer, one of those pop punk, kind of Blink-182 type bands or whatever. But they were on the radio and stuff for a while, and we had there, and then we had Cookies, and we had, like I said, the train station went back and forth every couple of years. I think they'd run out of money, and they'd let me start doing shows. And once they got money, they kicked me out.
Right.
Yeah, you probably know the people that run the Ellsworths. At least they used to. I don't know if they do or not.
They still do. The wife,
Sylvia.
She didn't like me because this was back when I first moved over to Frederick. I was dating her niece. She was still in high school. Her name was Nature. I was 25 years old. You know what I'm saying? She was 18, but
she was 18.
Nature telling me one time, Sylvia said, let me ask you, what do you think a man like him sees in a girl your age?
Well, what don't you see? Let's be realistic.
Anyway,
let's call a spade a spader. But anyway, the Ellsworths ran the track. But I really believe that that was the case. They literally would I think the place would get short on money and they'd let me do shows. And then once they got the money, they kicked me out. And we had a couple other places. We had the Tuscarora Roar attending. We used to do shows out there in the kind of the sticks in Martinsburg. The GK Center in Berryville, that was a fun venue. That was actually in the back of a fitness center. If you can
right. That's
I don't know if you remember that. It was also Purcellville, Virginia. We had a skating rink we used to rent out there. That was fun. We used to have like the Daycare Swindlers and the Overprivileged. A lot of great local punk bands used to play there. The Ready Steady Go, great ska band used to play out there. I mean, it was great. I mean, there was a lot of places to play back then. I mean, no offense, it's not like now where there's nowhere to play.
Right? Yeah. It's bleak.
It's pretty bad.
Bleak.
It's pretty bleak. Bad. I mean, it's just like it seems like there's a show like once every 3 months. I mean, it's sad. I mean, they got to that point, but I got to the point where it's just and I was talking to my buddy. You might know him too, actually, Chris Houck.
Oh, yeah, I know Chris Houck.
Yeah, Chris Houck was a good friend of mine for years. And I mean,
Mike Nowd, are you friends with Mike Nowd?
Yeah, Mike Nowd. Yeah, we went to a record show. We went to a couple of record shows together back in the day. Because, like I said, again, I hung out with all those guys. Tommy Clevenger. I don't know if you remember him or not. But yeah, he was in the scene.
I knew the Pitzers. Houck, Chris Pitzer, and now
Todd Green. You ever meet Todd Green? They called him Greeno. He was a bit of an introvert. Yeah, but he was a good friend of mine. We used to work down at Dave Weber's house. He used to have a mail order business with CDs and whatnot. And Todd and I that's how I met Chris Houck. And a lot of those guys, like Ruman and Gene Cook and all those guys, we all used to hang out. Like I said, I was like the
I do know Ruman.
Yeah,
I do. I just haven't seen him in a million years.
I see him at Second and Charles. I work at Second and Charles. I see him at Second and Charles once in a while. I'll see him and Gene. Like I'll see both of them in there. And and that's what we talk about. We're like, man, what happened to the music scene? That's literally. Chris Houck and I literally just had that conversation 2 days ago. We literally just had that conversation. We're just like, what happened, man? It's just crazy. But Chris, we were talking about that. It's just like how there used to always be a place to play, and now there's like nowhere to play. I mean, Chris is like, dude, I might get together an acoustic set and hit some open mics. That's literally about all I can do.
Right.
But I'm glad to see bands like the Exiles. I'm really happy to see them.
I'm real happy to see the School Rock.
Yeah, the School Rock. I'm glad to see that they're that Butch and everybody here
to succeed.
Yeah, Butch and Don and everybody here are trying so hard to keep this going. I mean, because it's just so this is a reason. This is what I used to do. And the only difference is I didn't have school.
Right.
This is what the Last Call hooligans all grew up going to my shows. It was so.
Let's talk about this, and I do this with all the artists that I get on the stage.
Oh, sure.
Or on the mic. Let's talk about the things that are inside of you that drive you as a creative person that wants to put up with the bullshit that we both know that you have to deal with to do
for
these.
Sure. Yeah.
What it is that drives you to create these things? What is your vision? What are your goals? What are the things that you as an artist and a promoter of the arts, what's the core of Matt Burns?
I just started doing shows and whatnot because I had nowhere else to go myself. You know what I mean? I was just like, and that's kind of where I still am. I was just like, I want to be.
What pulls you to the fringe? Like, you're putting these shows on. You're not picking Britney Spears. You're not picking cover bands. You're going after the fringe. You're going after these challenging artists. What is it that attracts you to the edge, to the challenge?
Because that's what I'm at. Because that's what I'm into. I'm not into Britney Spears. I'm not a pop culture guy. I've never been one to run with the sheep, if you will. I don't do that. I was raised not to do that. My dad didn't do that. I was always a misfit. I was always a nerd. I was always a geek. Only difference was when we read comic books back when I was a kid, we got the shit beat out of us for it. We got picked, got called names and everything. I got called derogatory names and everything else. But that's the thing. You know that there's something more to life than what the mainstream media feeds you. There's more to that. And like I said, and let's be real, the mainstream. This stuff's. Pop music when I was a kid still wasn't terrible. You still had your Nirvanas and you still had, people still had something to say back then. Where nobody has anything to say now. It's like and I never thought I'd say that. I hate it when my dad used to say shit like that to me. All these guys have nothing to say. It's just like I always told myself, I'm like, I'm never going to be like that. I'm always going to be open minded. But man, they make it tough, don't they? With the Justin Biebers and the
right. I know nothing of pop. For me. art and music essentially end shortly into the 21st century. You going to want to talk about the 20th century, I'm good to go.
I know. Exactly. Same here, all the way up till about 2005, 2006, the early 2000s. It's just like there, it's just like I can't do this. It's like again, the times just pass you by sometimes. I mean, you know how that is. I just don't get it. I don't get, a lot of these bands that these kids listen to now. I didn't get them back then when I was doing shows. A lot of them. Like I said, but it's just, but that's
we talk about
sign of the times, I guess.
We talk about these shows and we talk about this history. You go back 15 years. Now, the biggest difference I see, like last night Friday night watching the Exiles and watching the guys from the Downstrokes, is the shows I remember as a young person in my 20s were very much like Lord of the fucking Flies. And there was only young people there. Fist fights, chaos. There were no fucking adults. So going up to a show here that's laden with parents and adults protecting little kids and shit. Yeah, it's an intense. It's
different. Yeah,
it's good.
It is good. I mean, I was gonna say. Again, we used to do shows at a place in Charlestown called the Sound Lounge. We called it. It was literally the precursor to this rock school. It was supposed to be a safe environment. Right. It was. But the kids didn't like it. I mean, they weren't ready for that idea yet.
Right.
Especially after they'd been to the train station and had mosh pits and windows getting busted out and everything. Of course, that later all fell back on me. But kids want to get wild, man. I mean, they all have that streak in them. Being a teenager sucks. I mean, it sucked for me. I don't know if it sucked for you, but it sucked for me. It sucked for all of us.
What were some of the earliest punk bands that you start to be a fan of, whose music you go out of your way to collect, shows you go to see?
Well,
your ages.
Back in the day, we had, Bomb Threat, The Dolts, Vomit Snack, A Strong Intention. I liked all those bands. They were all great. They were all just fantastic. But nowadays, I love the Hellgramites. I always love those guys. I've been booking them for 15 years.
We're doing a show May 16th. At Sky Stage. Strausner is part of that, but he's doing bluegrass. He had a bluegrass.
Yeah, I've heard. I know he has a side project that he does of bluegrass and whatnot. That ought to be interesting. But yeah, it's good. The Hellgramites I like a lot. I like let's see, Sourpuss. They're fun. I like those guys. Last Call Hooligans. Of course. I pretty much raised those damn kids. They'll tell you that.
What about national acts? Who are some of the national acts that you enjoy?
Let's see. I still listen to all the stuff I did when I was younger. Rancid, Dropkick Murphys, all the old stuff or whatever. I love one of the last bigger shows that I saw was a band called the 69 Eyes, who always been one of my favorite bands. Rock and roll out of Finland, Helsinki, Finland. They're fantastic. And like I said, outside of that, Wednesday 13. I like a lot of the horror rock stuff. I guess. I know Blitz Kids getting back together. I might try to go see them when they tour around here. But the Coffin Cats, always enjoyed them. I booked them a bunch.
What's your thoughts on that, like an experimental music? Have you ever listened to any of that shit, like Einstein Neubauten, I think it's pronounced, that German band?
We had a lot of those weird bands that used to come to the train station. Because we used to have the punk shows there, and then we used to have the indie rock shows there.
What was the one guy that did? There was a local guy out of Frederick that did like an electronica kind of thing. If you said his name, I know we...
Trey Fry?
No. The name of his act, it was the name of a concentration camp. Some obscure... It's not Auschwitz, it's an obscure... I remember having one of his CDs. Yeah, he had a music shop over in Frederick, Maryland.
Schloss Tegel?
Yeah, that's them! Yeah. Schloss Tegel! Oh yeah.
Richard used to have a shop right here.
Yeah, I thought he ended up in Martinsburg for a while.
He was right here on King Street.
Yes.
Yeah, Richard was his. I don't remember his last name, but Richard. I remember I used to go in that shop all the time and buy punk CDs and shit off him all the time. I remember and he used to always try to talk about that techno shit. I was like, stop. I was like,
yeah, man. Yeah. I had a hard time with it.
I remember one time I was at the.
Thanks for pulling that one.
Schloss Teagle.
Thanks for pulling that one.
He's over in Europe now. He moved over there years ago.
He was a really interesting guy.
Yeah,
always enjoyed our conversations.
He's a little nuts. I did too, though. He was a cool guy. I mean, I remember one time I was at the Lost Dog here in Shepherdstown, that little coffee house over there in Shepherdstown. I was passing out flyers for the next gig or whatever. And then I hear somebody from I'm turned around or whatever, and somebody from my back, all I heard is, nobody wants to hear that punk shit. And I turn around and it's Richard. He's messing with me or whatever. So yeah, but no, Richard was a cool guy.
I liked him too.
Yeah. My dad bought an original The Day the Earth Stood Still poster off him for like $5. I think a lot of the shit he didn't realize he had.
And the value of it.
Yeah, but he was definitely, he liked it.
What do you call his shop here?
Inner Zone.
That was in Frederick too.
It was like upstairs. I remember it was like up a flight of stairs downtown. I remember it was like up in a loft kind of thing.
It had been when I first moved to Frederick in 1990. It was called Megaphone Music. A guy named Jason Willett had the shop.
Yeah.
And when he eventually moved to Baltimore, it got passed on to
Richard.
Schloss Teagle.
Richard.
Yeah.
I forget his last name, but his name was Richard. I remember it. But it was like up in like a loft. We had to go up in like a flight of stairs. It was upstairs, like I said, in this almost like loft apartment looking thing. But Inner Zone. And over here, and like I said, I could point to you right where it was on King Street too. It was right there on King Street. There was like a hemp shop next to it, and there was a tattoo shop next to it at the time. Now there's nothing there because again, it's right there by that 7-Eleven that we love to talk about. It's just the place in town has just gotten so run down, unfortunately.
I'll throw one of the other questions or subject matters that I tend to discuss with some of the other guys. Then I want to talk a little bit about cinema, and then we could go to. How long we been going, Chris?
33 minutes and change, almost 34.
We get close to 60.
I figure we get an hour.
An hour. That's what I was thinking.
Usually that's about for a podcast. That's about usually
everyone. Yeah, we've gone over when we have bands, but that's because you got 3-4 personalities.
People talking or whatever. Yeah.
I think that's a usual argument that what I've seen in the podcasting communities, it's like the atypical argument, like in the punk aspect, like which form of punk do you like, and you get fights over it. It's like
I like hardcore punk or crust punk,
war punk,
or punk, or hardcore punk. Crust. Like
there would be
power violence.
There's a time where it was crow bags and nothing else.
In
the podcasting world, it's like, all right, how long should it be? 15, half hour, 2 hours, more than 2 hours, right. And it's like that fight that goes on because there are loads of successful podcasts that go out there for an hour and they're great, and some go 2 hours and 3 hours and they're great. And I've known podcasters that run polls. Should we go longer? Should we go shorter? And it's always no, stay at the same time. Go 3 hours.
Right.
Should we go shorter? No, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of ones that are successful, it's like if you need to hammer it out over an hour, hammer it out over an hour. If it takes less than an hour, so be it.
Cut it. Yeah. Good.
The one thing we've talked about with everyone we've interviewed has been drugs, okay? And I'm interested in your perspective in this, because of course when you're young, you get that whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but your perspective, because you grew up in the Panhandle, I want to share this, drugs deeply affected my family, and they've deeply affected the Panhandle.
Oh, for sure.
When I left here, I leave West Virginia in 1990 roughly and don't come back until 2003. But when I lived in Baltimore for a couple of years. That's how I get involved in film. I get some training in Baltimore. But heroin had a horrible impact on Baltimore when I was living there, had a horrible impact on D.C. as well. Crack, of course, was eating.
And now it's kind of moved up this way.
Right, because I looked at it as an urban. This is an urban thing. It doesn't happen back home. I come home and
it's here.
Yeah,
it's here as well.
yeah.
No, it's an epidemic. I mean, I don't know if they're using it as some form of population control or what's going on here, but yeah, it's terrible. I mean, actually, speaking of the old shows and whatnot, the first girlfriend I ever had, her name was Miranda. And she used to have a print and copy zine. She used to make on photocopies.
Right.
Remember those things?
Yeah, I loved them.
Yeah. I still have hers, actually. I still have all the ones that she made. Of course, I used to get shout-outs and all of them. But yeah, she was kind of the first girl. We used to go to all the shows together. We were kind of, But I mean, unfortunately, that affected her greatly, and she passed away a couple years ago from an overdose. And it's still, as you can see, I still hate talking about it. You know what I mean?
Right?
Just,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, the what that shit does to people, and how people keep falling for it over and over again. It's like, God, it's like you see what this shit does.
Would
to
you
people.
see it
Why
involved?
Would you do it?
I mean, all right, in our scene back in the day, this '80s. Marijuana, maybe some LSD, stuff like that.
You never had
there was no overdosing. There was no deaths. Alcohol was easily the most dangerous drug that we dealt with.
Yeah, exactly. Because then these tough guys, these agnostic front tough guys, all turn into what the fuck you look.
Right.
Like.
Everyone wants to fight. You've got drunk driving accidents.
Peacocking and what the fuck you looking at, geek? That type. They all turn into that basically. It's like, but yeah, no. It's just, but I never did the drugs. I was always a proud straight edge guy. I mean, I still have never done any. To this day, I mean, just because I know what the fuck that shit does to people. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, that's not something I want to be a part of. I mean, it's just not something I want to be a part of. I just don't understand how people can keep falling for it. I mean, or I guess
that's awesome.
And the pity that I have is that people's lives are so bad that they feel they need to resort to something like that.
Right.
I mean, I guess I always had a pretty good life, so I guess it never affected me to the point where I would want to try something that extreme. I just but. I feel terrible for people whose lives are that bad that they feel they need an escape that bad to try that crap. I mean, I don't.
It also has a horrible impact on your art or your music.
Everything. I mean,
you can't play, you can't perform. If you're all fucked up.
I mean, that's what I said. I mean, I know the popular theory says, oh, look at Jim Morrison, look at Kurt Cobain. Those guys died. They died.
Yeah.
It's like, how good could it have possibly made them if they're dead? I mean, all those guys, Janis Joplin, all those musicians that all you would experiment with those drugs and whatnot. I mean, yeah, they might have made a handful of decent songs, but what it cost them? They're all dead. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I mean, but yeah, no, I don't want to say. I don't want to see any kids fucking get involved with that shit. I don't. I wouldn't wish that stuff on my worst enemy. No,
right.
Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
I like that. Let's talk about film. All right. Have you seen Joker?
Of course.
Okay.
I saw it in the theaters actually.
I haven't seen it yet. I go back. I'm a fan of Todd Phillips, right? The filmmaker. My favorite rejection letter that I have is from 1995 New York City Underground Film and Video Festival. I was in Baltimore at the time. A bunch of my friends got into that. Todd Phillips was the program director. He was in charge of the festival. He was promoting a film called Hated, G.G. Allen and the Murder Junkies. We ended up getting that screened in Baltimore and several other films that had done real well in his festival. He's one of the figures that I can look at that starts on the underground, what you're into, what we're both into.
Right, of course.
And to see him have this mainstream.
Him and the other one is James Gunn. James Gunn, the director and producer of Guardians of the Galaxy. His first film was Tromeo and Juliet. From Troma. I was going to say, James Gunn's another one that has worked his way up very high in the film industry. But yeah, the Todd Phillips too, absolutely.
And you have, the one thing that I think in the arts, like the difficulty, and I'm dealing with this at Shepherd, we've been trying to do some programming over there, is this idea that somehow the underground doesn't have an impact on mainstream art and culture, and it's the most fucked up mindset I've had to deal with.
Oh, absolutely.
You can name a director, I can name a director, I can name other artists
Right.
that start.
Well, everybody starts underground unless you're like Taylor Swift and
Right.
or Justin Bieber, whose family has money. I mean, whose family
Right.
has money. Taylor Swift's family were already millionaires apparently from way before she even cut a track, before she even recorded a guitar track or whatever. Which I mean, that's one thing I will give her. She does play her own music. She does play her own guitar and piano and whatnot. But I mean, her songs are. I wouldn't buy any of her albums, but I do give her that credit. At least she doesn't know how to play. I'll give her that. But yeah, no, the underground has a huge influence on things. I mean, how many kids you see walking around nowadays? I mean, you see Misfit shirts in Walmart.
Right,
You
right,
see
right,
Ramones
right.
shirts in Walmart.
Right.
I don't mean to cut in down this.
Shoot.
But I'll agree with you. The whole aspect of the underground, you brought up blaxploitation movies. That was a large, pretty much underground thing because during that time, no one wanted to, in essence, it was straight out of the, coming out of the, I keep talking to this with a buddy of mine that during the 60s with the cultural, African Americans had to be in one section and whites had to be in another segregation.
Right.
We were just coming out of that, and still the whole idea of hiring an African person of color wasn't there. So someone decided, hey, wait a minute, no one's hiring my kind of people. Let me start doing this as an underground movement, and boom, you have this cultural revolution
Of subculture, if you will. Yeah. Absolutely. Look. Joker is literally a freaking movie about a guy who's mentally ill. Mentally, whose world that the world has turned his back on this guy, who's a misfit and a loser, and he's like I said, and finally it's just somebody who's finally had enough. That's where most people are in this world nowadays. Right. It seems like people have just had enough. It's very similar, I think, to the acts of the 1960s, and I think we're on the cusp of something like that again. I mean, if not worse. I hate to say that, but the mindset is there. These people in the 1960s. Like Wayne Kramer from the MC5 said. We were part of an entire generation that agreed with the direction the country was going was wrong.
Wrong.
I was going to say, we're the ones that were going to have to go to Vietnam. We didn't agree with the way they treated people of color in America. We didn't agree that they suppress. We just wanted to be heard. And that's what this Joker movie is. It's an entire generation of people, I think, that can relate to this movie that just want to be heard. That society or whatever has forgotten about.
Right.
It's just. That's my look on it anyway. They just want to be heard. It's just. And like you said, you mean some of the underground. Look at what I just say about comic books. Remember when comic books, like I said, you used to get beat up for reading comic books. You used to get head in the toilet, and flushed for reading comic books. And now look at it. Comics are making billions of dollars off these movies.
Yeah.
And now jocks are walking around in the gym wearing Spider-Man T-shirts and Batman T-shirts. You never used to see that.
Right.
So you mean to tell me it's just a lot of the biggest stuff started out as an underground idea.
Absolutely agreed. For me personally, it's one of the best experiences of my life, and it's taught me so much about art, and it taught me about the world. It was 1993. I was in Baltimore in UMBC. And, I thought I knew what underground film was, I thought I knew. But my professor screened Mothlight, Stan Brackage's Mothlight from 1963. 27 years old, everything I'd ever fucking learned about art just gets shattered.
Yeah, just gets thrown out the window.
One moment gone, But it expands the conversation. It makes me a bigger artist. And always, the way I've always viewed the underground is it's very much like a petri dish. You know what I'm saying? These are where things are experimented with. These where ideas are put together,
Oh, for sure.
And to know its history. You start to get into William Burroughs and you find out about Naked Lunch.
Yeah, Naked Lunch was good. And look at you want to talk about underground making an influence on the mainstream. What was any more underground in this area than the Blair Witch Project? Blair Witch Project was made for what, $10,000?
Right.
It was made for $10,000 and made $20 million at the box office, something like that
or more.
Yeah, or more even. I'm probably counting DVD sales and VHS sales, because it went through both. It went through both sales.
Paranormal Activity was made for $35,000 and made like over $100 million.
That's what I said. Yeah, Paranormal Activity. So you want to talk about the underground not having an influence? Remanence? I mean, of course it has an influence. Same with Remanence. I mean, Remanence was made on a very small budget, but that doesn't mean that it can't, impact people or impact the.
Here's what I'm interested in this too, Matt. All right, they had what's his name, Rob Zombie. This was years ago, but he put together a list of some of his favorite obscure horror films for like a Halloween thing. But the film he turned me on to, I'd never heard of, and I thought was incredible, was Audition.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let me hear some of the obscure films that you enjoy. That if you could let another cinemaphile like me or our audience know about, check this film out, or a couple of them.
Okay, well, I was going to say, of course, I love Sleepaway Camp. I thought that was a great movie, great twist at the end. Of course, a lot of people kind of know that. If you're into horror, you kind of know that one. A movie that I really enjoy that I don't think gets a lot of credit, I mean, you can watch it on Tubi for free right now, actually, is a movie out of England from about 5 years ago called Don't Hang Up. And I know that the title itself just makes it sound really generic, like one of those like Blumhouse, generic movies. But let me tell you something: the thought that they put into this movie, and I mean the suspense, and it was great. I mean, it was a great movie, and I mean, and it was just But Don't Hang Up. That's one I always try to turn people on to, and trying to think of some other ones here. If you're into the 80s slasher genre, Intruder is a movie that not a lot of people know what it is. It was made by Sam Raimi. Actually, of course, you want to talk about another guy who went from rags to riches. Went from the Evil Dead movies to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies.
Right.
Sam Raimi is another one who's gone kind of a rag to riches story. And Intruder had Danny Hicks, who was in Evil Dead 2. He was the main character. And it's just a fun, slasher flick. I mean, there's nothing special about it, but it's very solid for what it is, for what it is or whatever. And Slaughter High too is another one in that genre. Slaughter High is really interesting to me because the guy who played the main character was actually a mental patient, and he killed himself right after the movie. After they made that movie. Yeah, Simon Scudamore was the kid's name.
Wow.
Yeah. Very, very haunting story there from Slaughter High. I mean, as I said, if you ever get a chance to check that one out, that's another one that's really, really solid. I just thought, and they actually shot the movie in the mental institution where he lived. Actually, but they made it out like it was a school or whatever, but still. How they pranked this kid really bad, and it's just it was something. It was really a great genre flick. But another movie that I enjoyed, of course, this is more of a mainstream flick.
Go for it.
For a couple years ago was Bad Times at the El Royale. I don't know if you saw that or not. Jeff Bridges was in it, and Chris Hemsworth was in it. Chris Hemsworth played a bad guy, if you can believe that.
Right.
Usually he's always clean, but he actually played almost like a man sometimes. And it was from they had a girl. Had a girl that had a voice like an angel. She was singing. She was like a Motown singer that had kind of lost her way a little bit or whatever. And Jeff Bridges had Alzheimer's in it and whatnot. He played a great. I'm telling you, John Hamm was also in it. It was fantastic movie. It was good. It was just all done in one location. All the real set, real actors, no CGI. It was just a real flick, real movie.
Some of my favorite filmmakers. David Cronenberg.
Oh, Cronenberg, yeah.
Videodrome.
The Fly.
I love The Fly. I love
with Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, and Videodrome is and Scanners and some of the stuff he's done. Spider's another one. Yeah, that's a good one too. And what about the guy that does John Carpenter and The Thing.
Fantastic film.
Kurt Russell. He's another one. I'm big.
John
and he does so much in his films. Like he does the sound.
The score.
Yeah. I've always thought he was wonderful.
Now, unpopular opinion, I did not like that new Halloween movie at all.
I haven't even seen that one.
I just didn't care for it. I'm sorry. To me, it just felt like a cash grab. I'm sorry.
Right. The one that just came out?
The one that just came out. Yeah, the one that about a year or so. I think that now it's on like Netflix. If you ever wanted to check it out, I think it's on it's on streaming channels.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it's on streaming somewhere. You can probably find it. But yeah, I didn't care for it. I'm sorry. To me, it was just very predictable, very boring. It was just to me, it just almost, like I told you, it almost just felt like a cash grab to me. But I know it's like part of a trilogy. There's now a trilogy that they're doing. The new one's coming out this year, and then next year supposedly it's going to be the last Halloween movie. Yeah, right. Okay, I'll believe that one.
Yeah. As long as it makes money.
Like somebody else.
Godzilla.
Now, see, it might be John Carpenter's last Halloween movie, but somebody will reboot that franchise, like Rob Zombie did, like Zombie did back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. But yeah, I mean, as long as something makes money, they're going to keep doing it.
What about the Alien franchise? Are you a fan of the Alien films?
I mean, yeah, they were good. I mean, they're not my favorite movies, but they were very solidly made. Now Mark Byrne, that's like his favorite movie of all time is Alien. Actually, he's a huge fan of that, and I think a lot of it has to do with the generation thing too. I think I was a little young when it came out or whatever. I don't think I was born yet. I think when the first one came out, but I know it was groundbreaking filmmaking. It was really a groundbreaking on the whole sci-fi genre. Which now they made that movie called Underwater, which basically looked like Alien. It basically kind of looked like Alien Underwater. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. But yeah,
I got into that Covenant. I've watched it a few times. And that's Ridley Scott, who's original Alien, so he gets to revisit the franchise. Right. And, I'm still working through it. I think it's a good film, Covenant.
It is, yeah, very solid. It's a solid movie.
I love the whole idea that it's the bad android that basically has a god complex, you know. Of course, yeah. And you go back to the original film, and it's the fucking android that kind of loses it there, that... The science officer, I forget the character's name. The one guy I tried to turn you on to get you to watch was Jim Van Beber and the My Sweet Satan. That won that film festival I was telling you about from 1995 with Todd Phillips. And 20 minutes, but just such an amazing piece of... homegrown cinema, done in Dayton, Ohio, of all places. He also he did a few features in his time. He's still out there. He does one on Charles Manson. He does a whole Manson movie shot in Dayton, Ohio.
Right.
Which is it's supposed to be fucking California or whatever.
And I was gonna say because I know that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie, the Tarantino.
I just saw that.
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters. I again wasn't super impressed with it. I mean,
me neither. Everyone was telling me they thought it was his best. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I'll tell you that right.
Which one's your favorite?
Death Proof. Death Proof is actually my favorite.
Jackie Brown.
You know what?
Jackie Brown.
Number 2 would have been Jackie Brown. Yeah,
for me.
Great.
Jackie Brown for me.
Yeah, great.
I just watched that again recently, and it's just the low keyness of it, but it's an incredible film.
I mean, I just the best line in that whole movie. What did he say? He said, "When you absolutely, positively have to kill every motherfucker in the room except no substitutes."
Yeah.
Talking about the AK-47.
Death Proof and Planet Terror were great homages to the grind.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I saw that over here at Berkeley Plaza. That was back when they used to have $3 matinees.
I saw it at the Regal. And it was fairly new when I saw it with David Wonger, who's the guy that edited my film Trailer Trash. Yeah.
Did it have all the trailers?
It had every fucking thing. It was awesome. We saw it opening night.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I saw it at Berkeley Plaza probably a dozen times. I would just go after work because I'd be bored or whatever. I'd just go after work and go see it. It was $3. And you $3 to see 2 movies.
Still $5 is still cheaper.
Berkeley Plaza is still the best deal in town. Absolutely, it's still the best deals. I go see a lot of movies there still.
And the fact that Machete came from those two.
Yeah, I was gonna say my personal favorite trailer was Thanksgiving. I wish they would have made a movie out of Thanksgiving, the trailer. But
yeah.
Thanksgiving. The way they got
it was funny.
Yeah, I have a T-shirt of that somewhere. Actually, it actually had the logo. Thanksgiving or whatever.
Chris, if you have anything, go ahead and bring it to a wrap.
All right. Because you were a promoter for music and doing that, what was the, in essence, learning curve that you found between going from promoting and booking bands to the con scene?
Just the bigger scale of it. I mean, I tell you, just the bigger scale of it. I mean, it's wild going from, local shows, which again, not sneezing at, 100 to 150 people a night. But I mean, when you go from that to like 2,000 people, it's crazy. I mean, the first time that happens, you're just like, you're just stunned. I mean, so really that's what it was all about, having to deal with bigger budgets. space, more people. I mean, it was definitely a lot more hands on than okay, we got these 4 bands playing at this venue, go. These 4 bands playing this 4 venue, go. Yeah.
So. Matt, can I ask what's the most you've ever paid for a celebrity?
I don't like talking about that.
You don't have to say a specific name, but
can I say it off camera? I mean, can you guys shut this off for us?
Oh yeah, we can pick this up. We can pick it up when we're done.
Yeah, but
because we're going to go upstairs. We'll go upstairs.
I know a lot of them don't like you talking about that. I mean, it's a professional thing.
And it'll probably piss a couple.
Yeah, well, they're
that motherfucker, right? Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, again, good question. But it's something I can't answer that. No.
But has there been? What's the difference between booking somebody for? Have you learned booking somebody for shows, going from again band promotion to con promotion to booking someone for a movie?
Well, we haven't really gotten into the movie thing. I haven't really had to deal with too many,
the behind the scenes.
Yeah, because again, because actually the thing is, we don't work with. I mean, at least Mark doesn't, and I'm probably not going to either if I go forward with any of these features that I'm working on. We don't want to work with SAG actors. SAG is just too complicated. The union,
right?
SAG
yeah,
union. Of course, Don knows what that is. But but the SAG union. I mean, you gotta have certain food. You gotta take breaks. I mean, it's just just a pain in the butt, basically.
You're a guerrilla filmmaker.
Yeah, exactly.
This new challenge, going from a promoter to a movie maker or independent.
Well, I'm still going to do both. Obviously. But I'm always looking for a new challenge. I did shows for, like I said, close to 15 years. I mean, you know what? I almost think I did it for too long. I just got complacent with it. I mean, some of the guys even in the scene will tell you, that towards the end I got real complacent with a lot of it. I was just, half the shows I wouldn't even show up to. I mean, it was yes. I mean, I was dealing with. I needed a change. I mean, that's right. And this has been a welcome change. This has been a very welcome.
Okay, that's it. Pretty much it for me. Don, you got anything else or?
Just real quick, let me get a close up on you, and I'm gonna.
If Don has nothing else to pretty much ask or anything like that, I'll cut this.
Cut all the way off on me, Chris. Let me get just a couple more, and this would be little clips for my film. Let's talk about your relationship with Brian Sefcik.
Oh, like I said, since I played with him in 2001, we've kept in touch over the years. Sourpuss is great. I love watching that. The Love Gods are always a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I know those guys are kind of coming to a close, but I hope they don't. But yeah, no, Brian's a great guy, and I mean, he's the king of the music scene, king of the punk scene anyway around here. I mean, that guy's freaking awesome. I don't have enough good things to say about him.
All right, now let's throw a little bit in there. Give me something for Adam Strausner and your friends in the Heldermites.
Oh, again, super pleasure to work with. I've booked those guys more times than I can count, really. But yeah, no, I always love working with them. So much fun to watch live. I mean, if you ever get a chance to just watch an old school, surf punk band, they are the shit.
Marvin Kennedy.
Oh, I met Marvin actually when I was working with Conrad Brooks, actually back in the day, and he worked with Mark Byrne for a long time too. Unfortunately, Marvin's fallen ill recently, but he's
in bad shape.
Yeah, he's not very. I was gonna say, yeah, we did.
I'm hoping to go over and see him next time.
Yeah. He and I. I've known Marvin since, except with Conrad Brooks, and then with Mark Byrne, of course. He worked with Mark on most of his movies. Actually, I'm sure he'll tell you about that. But yeah, no, Marvin's good people, and like I said, again, wish him nothing but the best.
Good. Thank you, Matt.
No problem.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that conversation, that interview, discussion, call it what you wish. If you wish to join in the conversation or ask Don anything about the Frederick Underground movement, the next time we see him, we could pass along those questions. Or maybe one of these days actually just hold Don down for a few minutes and just speak to him about this. And if you have any questions, you could feel free to email us at longcoatmafia@gmail.com or leave a comment in the pinned post, and we'll be more than happy to pass along those questions to Don. And have him answer them next time we see him, or like you said, hold him down, tie him down, because he is a very busy person. And from what we were asked, show-wise, we were asked to further continue to help Don document a lot of these journeys that the bands and individuals have been on with their craft. And I definitely said yes, because it's very interesting to hear these journeys that these folks have been on. So we will be continuing to do that. So if you wish to catch these episodes, you're more than welcome to do so by going to one of our many outlets in regards to receiving our episodes. And that being said, we're going to switch things up by saying if you have a desktop or laptop computer, you can catch our episodes at our main website, which is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com, or iTunes/Apple Podcasts, depending on which OS you use, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and yes, when YouTube decides to post, allow the episodes to be posted up on YouTube as well. So, but if you're on a mobile device, you could always catch our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, TuneIn, from what I understand as well, and the Podbean app, and where podcasts are atypically found. So, please note, you're also able to view our back catalog on our entire back catalog on our main website, which is again thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. Just that if you're on a mobile device, you would have to get these episodes via the Podbean app, which is free to get and use. And be so happy to gain you as a new listener, whoever you may be. And if you so wish, to see which episodes are, if you wish to preview before you download, and you could do so by following our social media, which is, again, on most platforms. Our main platform that we tend to try to post up daily is Facebook, which our Facebook page is facebook.com/The Long Coat Mafia Podcast. And we do have a Twitter page, Twitter account. Our Twitter account is Long Coat Mafia, and our Instagram account is also Long Coat Mafia. So feel free to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram if you want. And before I forget, we do have a YouTube channel. You would have to search for the Long Coat Mafia Podcast once you go on YouTube. A lot of our episodes are posted up there, along with some videos of where we've been and what we tend to do at certain events. So you're more than happy to follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube if you like what you see and or hear. Please click that like button, and if you want to, if you have any questions or anything like that, like stated, you can always leave a comment down below. And always, as well, we do have an email address, so you could always email the show. It's easy to do. Our email is longcoatmafia@gmail.com. And we do have a Mixer, and we do have a Twitch account. I found it easier to stream to either Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch or Mixer, because way OBS tends to do things on YouTube, it splits it up somehow for whatever reason. But still, our Mixer channel is mixer.com/LCMP, and our Twitch channel is twitch.tv/longcoatmafiapod, and we're currently experiencing a little bit of glitch at our safe house, and we'll start to continue streaming either on Mixer or on Twitch as soon as we get that glitch fixed. So please stay tuned. We do have a TikTok, but we only have one video on there right now. As always, all the links are down below in the description mostly on our main website, so you're always, all the links that you hear us say on our show will be in the show description, and can be found mostly on our, or if not always, on our main website, which is again thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. Podbean.com. Remember, it is, again, thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. And that being said, I'm going to step back for now and leave you this week. And I hope to see you next week. And who knows what might happen next week and who we will speak to, if any. But we do have another guest within the next 2 weeks, so please stay tuned for that. So, I'm going to step back and leave you guys and gals this weekend, and I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Longcoat Mafia Podcast, the internet's most hated and mafia-themed geek podcast.